if you have these limiting beliefs, you're going to do these strategies and hit this wall. And so I think it is so incredibly important. And the first thing is to, one, become aware of them, which I think so many have been given to us. They've been passed down through generations or from like our upbringing that we don't even realize that that is not the truth. So I love that you say money is innocent, because a lot of times in our families, our grandparents or our parents said like money's the root of all evil, or money causes people to be greedy, or these things. That's not actually the truth. What I believe is that money magnifies who you already are as a person. So if you're a good-hearted person, your money is going to magnify that. This is the After Brief, except instead of boring bullet points and corporate jargon, you're getting the real stories, strategies, and insider tips that make real businesses grow. We're taking the stuff most people keep off the record and turning the mic on. Welcome back to another episode of the After Brief. I am so excited. Today we have Marci Baron, the one, the only. She is our mindset coach inside of Charm Collective, because we believe wholeheartedly that your mindset is literally 80% of the work that we do. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are correct. And as we are on this entrepreneurship journey, we are expanding, we are growing, we are pushing our comfort zone, and we have a lot of limiting beliefs, ideas, identities that will come up, and we have to learn how to deal with them to move past them, as well as nervous system regulation, which is incredibly, incredibly important. You can't have one without the other. So we are about to get into it today. I am so excited. I hope you have your pen, your paper out, and you're ready to take notes, because Marci is an absolute genius with this stuff.
Oh, thank you. I love you. That was a kind of introduction. Thank you.
Of course.
You hit on so much.
I know. I was trying to give a brief overview.
Yeah.
Why do you feel... Let's start with like your background. I think that's really important.
I love
if
that.
People don't know you.
Thanks.
How did you become such an expert at this identity work, but also this nervous system regulation piece?
So I've been doing this work over 10 years. My background actually is I have a dual master's in education. I'm like a formally trained teacher. So I do love presenting and talking and all of the, now just my curriculum changed. But my work into this became because of my need for this work. Mm-hmm. When we work in healing, in mindset, in working and transformation, I truly believe it comes from I had to go first in order for my own transformation and metamorphosis, right? I truly believe when you're in this transformative work, as you know, you went through your own arc and then are able to coach people through your own experience. Same with me. My first modalities of healing were etheric, which is aura work, energy work. Everything is energy. And then as I went through all, because I love to learn as a teacher, right? So many trainings, working with the subconscious, working in the nervous system, somatic work, which is the felt experience, and realizing that it is mind, body, and spirit. It cannot be separated. And just so many trainings, so many certifications that lead to a very well-rounded approach, and one that is incredibly effective.
Yeah, I think that is so important for anybody listening that thinks like, oh, energy work is woo and it's not legitimate. We both sat through 7 days of a Joe Dispenza workshop where he's literally bringing the data and showing you how energy is so real, and how we can literally transform our lives, our health, by this work, whether it's meditation, ETF tapping, hypnosis, nervous system regulation. Like, it is factual. It is not woo spiritual. So for anybody thinking it is, yeah, I just wanted to add that because I think it's so incredibly important. We're just learning now
Right.
so much more about this stuff.
Right. It is not separate, and our energy field is measured. It
Yeah.
is able to be detected. What we learned at that retreat was about heart and brain coherence. And
Mhm.
when everything is in coherence, I think the way he described it was like drummers off kilter, and it's like nails on the
Mm.
chalkboard. But when there's a symphony and harmony and everything is moving in a harmonious way, um, things can change on a biological level. On it's felt in the presence in nervous system work. When you're in alignment or grounded, people feel that.
Totally.
Right. As opposed to if I was talking to all of our clients in the program and I'm on the call and I'm dysregulated, right? That is felt. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed or transmuted. That is law. And whether people think or feel that that's woo, it is truly the reality of the world we live in. And the beautiful thing that I love about our program is we do address emotions, we do address mindset, we regulate the nervous system, we go from top up and top down to bottom up, I think is the way it said, so that we have this multidimensional overlapping, really just full scope way that we work with our clients so that they can, succeed in their business.
Yeah. So I've actually never heard it explained like this, and I love it. So tell me, and for everybody listening, what's this top down, bottom up approach that you're talking about?
Yeah. So it's really how I view everything. So top down is the cognitive. Okay. It's our beliefs. It's what we think about ourselves in the world and how we show up. I want to say this overarching thing as women, as female entrepreneurs, our businesses are the way in which we do the work of our lives. It's not that we're never going to get triggered. It's not that we're never going to feel insecure or not happy all the time and positive.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's that from this top down approach, we have a limiting belief, a primary limiting belief that we created about ourselves. And what I say is a split happened. It happened typically in childhood, where we then disconnected from the truth of ourselves. And very often it's, I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me. I can't rock the boat,
Yeah.
something where we create this disempowering. That's from the top down. We're working within that view that becomes our lens in which we see everything. So it skews our ability to take action in our business. It skews our ability we're in relationships with our clients. It skews our
Mhm.
ability to feel our most confident, whole, aligned self. That's something that we work on a lot in the program. What are my limiting beliefs about money?
Mhm.
So many of us grew up in families where, again, money is innocent,
Yeah, I love that.
right? And the lens in which we see money is, again, skewing how it shows up for us. So
Yeah.
that's the top down. Okay. I'm aware of what I'm thinking, my beliefs, the subconscious, 95% is
Yeah.
running like the elevator music of our lives. And what we do is we help our women see that, okay,
Yeah.
this is the story I'm telling myself. Here are the emotions that fuel it. So it could be guilt, it could be shame, it could be lack of confidence, unworthiness, right? So we're getting clear on what that is. Now, that's the top down. Bottom up is our bodies are communicating with with us all the time. Nervous system signals every single system in our body. So what happens? I want to reach out and do my lead gen or make sales, and this nervous system is now triggered. It doesn't know if it's, getting on a sales call, a disco call, as we call it, or running from a bear. Our nervous
Mm-hmm.
system can't tell the difference. We're activated. Adrenaline and cortisol, fight or flight. Okay. Freeze is another one. I'm like literally incapacitated.
Yeah.
Or fawn is another one, FAWN. I have to overgive. I have to overcompensate. So why are we doing that? Because our nature is to stay safe and
Mm-hmm.
connected. And we did everything as kids, as teenagers, and young adults, and still that could be playing out to overcompensate in order to stay safe and loved. So
Yeah.
that's the top down and the bottom up approach that is multi-dimensional that we're working with in our program.
Yeah, I love how you explain that. I think that is so beneficial because ultimately what we've found is like we have the best strategy in the world for scaling marketing agencies.
Right.
But if you have these limiting beliefs, these subconscious beliefs that you don't even know are there, that are actually steering the ship, you're going to do these strategies and hit this wall and you're not going to get the results. And so I think it is so incredibly important. And the first thing is to one, become aware of them, which I think so many have been given to us. They've been passed down through generations or from like our upbringing that we don't even realize that that is not the truth. So I love that you say money is innocent because a lot of times in our families, our grandparents or our parents said like money's the root of all evil,
Right.
or money causes people to be greedy, or these
Right.
things. That's not actually the truth. What I
Right.
believe is that money magnifies who you already are as a person. So if
Right.
you're a good-hearted person, your money is going to magnify that. More money is going to magnify that. If you're a greedy person, money's going to magnify that.
Right. We had a group call, and I just like my heart just really contracted, and we were really just bringing up our money beliefs, and it was fascinating because some of the girls, women, gals, they were like, if I make money, I'm going to leave my family behind. One of the ladies was like, I saw my grandmother play the lottery every day and told me the only way we're going to be rich is to win the lottery. And then she had to watch the disappointment that when she didn't win on the scratch off. Like, again, we're these from age 0 to 7, we're in theta brainwaves. We're literally in that meditative state, and every single thing becomes wired in our subconscious. So we don't even know that these beliefs are running the show until we, like a mechanic, look under the hood and say, what do I believe? What is really true about this? And how am I using that as a lens, as a filter to run my business? Is this helpful? Is this not helpful? And I say this, and to everyone listening, with curiosity and compassion, really just say, wow, okay, I didn't know this is what was running the show. And how can I lovingly shift this? How can I be more compassionate about that this is what's been happening? And it's a both and. I live in the both and. It's like, okay, we don't have to. Of course, anger can come up, sadness can come up, whatever needs to come up, but we don't have to say, we can also say our parents and caregivers and whatever, did the best they could.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is so important. And I think no matter how well you were raised, like you're going to as you look for a new level, you're going to have different identities that you need to unpack and reconstruct. And it's not a negative thing. And I just think you brought it up earlier too, that doing this work doesn't mean that sadness is never going to come up, that grief is never going to come up, that anger is never going to come up. It's the fact that it comes up and you allow it to happen and then you move through it.
Right. People don't realize emotions literally means energy in motions.
Love.
They are feelings. They are meant to be felt in that word. If everyone could look as their emotions as information, sadness is here. Let it come up. Yeah. Anger is here. Let it come up. Sad and mad go with each other. Very often anger comes because anger is really outward and it can have an effect on people like in a defensive way, whereas sad is contracting. But as children, if we didn't have emotionally regulated adults around us and they felt uncomfortable with us expressing our emotions, so then what happens? The issues are in the tissues. We're suppressing them. And a lot of us are still giving our emotions space to be felt that are really old. One thing that I love in the program, everyone calls me Mama Marci, right? I'm a little bit older. I have 2 young adult children. And the reason is because I am that safe space where whatever you feel is okay. Mm-hmm. We do a lot of processing in the program so that it's a safe space. And I do a lot of that on the group calls because A, a lot of people don't know how to hold space for that. B, we have to learn, like you said, it's okay to feel them. Once they move, whatever's underneath can come up. And very often it's relief, it's clarity, it's motivation to take the next step in our business. Mm-hmm. And we give permission for that because it's normal.
Yeah, I love that. You have never met a safer space to feel your emotions than Mama Marci.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. I think you never make people wrong, yeah. People just are allowed to be themselves wholeheartedly, which is an incredible attribute for a mindset coach in the program because, I think there are a lot of things that come up when we're taking the path less traveled, right? And I think we're one of the first generations. I mean, I'm a millennial. We have a lot of Gen Z and I don't even know what comes after that, but the first generations that are truly processing their emotions and are allowed to do that and have safe space to do that. And so we're rewriting our reality in real time. And I think, as we're doing things that aren't normal or atypical, like going off into entrepreneurship, when our parents used to tell us, a 9 to 5 was the safest thing you can do. Well, we don't have pensions anymore. You can get fired. You can get laid off at any time. I really believe that entrepreneurship is one of the safest things that you can do at this point.
Right.
But we still have to do this inner work. And I think sometimes we find people that want to bypass that.
Yeah.
And it's so sad to witness them struggling, even though that's their path and that's their journey, and to each their own. And we want everybody to experience life in their own time. But I just know that you are making it much harder on yourself when you bypass this stuff and when you don't allow yourself. Sometimes people call it shadow work. Sometimes what comes up first is difficult and it's triggering and it's hard.
Right.
But that's when you said, then you move through it and you have clarity, motivation, happiness, whatever it is on the other side. And so I think it's just truly so important.
100%. I think you just so beautifully articulated that because every single woman in our program is invited to do this inner work. And the beautiful thing about alchemizing that shadow is it then comes into light. When you do that, you are able to, if you alchemize anger, it becomes passion.
Yeah, I love that. And I think what I just said was you've never met a safer space, but that's how you meet with compassion for others and like openness. And I think what you teach is how for women to do that to themselves as well. Right.
Yes.
It's like whatever comes up. Okay.
Right.
Like that's okay.
Right. And that is the greatest gift that we give ourselves is how do I hold myself through this discomfort? Because it's always going to come. It comes in waves. And we even talk about, I think, which is revolutionary in a coaching program, like you said, we're here to scale our business and become agency owners. But one thing that I spoke about one time is we are women. When you have your cycle, right? We talked about work through the lens of our monthly cycle, and everyone was unbelievable. When I said, when my daughter had her period, I mean, sorry, Luce, but my daughter's name's Lucy too. I have this Lucy and my Lucy. When she would get her period, I'd say, stay home from school.
Yeah.
And all the girls were like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, like, it's okay. Like, if you don't feel like you have to honor where you are, balance with your masculine and your feminine energy in your business. And and again, the beautiful thing about a cycle is it brings up all the emotions, and you need to cry or release or be out in nature or take the afternoon off. We honor that.
Yeah.
And so I think it is a beautiful thing that I am modeling, that safe, compassionate curiosity, energy, voice that many of us didn't have, or our caregivers did the best they could. And we're in this age of consciousness now where we have to be unconditionally loving with ourselves and have grace for what we're going through.
Yeah, I love, and I think there's that, like, you get to this point too, where I've talked about this before. I had difficulty learning how to read as a child, and I now have gratitude for that because yes, it probably showed up for a long time. It showed up for a long time as not enoughness and trying to prove myself.
Right.
But also because of that, I have an insane work ethic. I have always known that if I want something great and I want to build a life, I can do anything I put my mind to. I just have to work for it. And like, I can see the other side of where like limiting beliefs now have created a beautiful life for me, and I can have gratitude. But I think you have to examine it first, know it's there, and look at all angles, and like realize that compassion and gratitude, I think, is incredibly important.
Right. And what you've done is you've taken your wound and made it into your wisdom.
Yes. Love.
Right. You have alchemized that limiting belief into like what happens with coal, the pressure then becomes the diamond, the grit becomes the pearl. So you have taken that limiting belief and alchemized it into, like you said, the gifts. And that is what we are here to do as human beings.
Love.
We are here to live in that duality, in that contrast, in that pressure, so that we can be the most aligned, brightest being that we can in our gifts.
Yeah.
And every single beautiful woman in this world has it.
Yes. And I love that. And what's coming up for me right now is like the surrender through it, right? So what I think most people do, at least what I normally do, is I try and like white knuckle when things aren't going my way. And I'm like, I'm just going to force it. I'm just going to go through it. I'm going to deal with it, whatever. And it's like, okay, but how much faster could we learn the lesson? And could we evolve if we're like, I'm being challenged with this right now, but like, I'm going to surrender to it and try and figure out what the wisdom is, what I can learn from it, rather than white knuckle through it.
Right.
Which is so hard.
And that is so hard. I mean, because everyone wants to be somewhere else. You say you want to be there, and then your next there becomes even higher and higher, and the needle keeps moving. And what that's about is enoughness. that you are living the most incredible life, no matter what, in its gifts, in its treasure, and in its, frustrations or what isn't working. And that if you can realize that everything is now, everything is
Yeah.
as it should be, everything is unfolding exactly as it should, and that there is no there. Now
Mm.
is there. And if you
Yeah.
come into that place of appreciation, of gratitude, you're not striving, you're not coming from a place of lack. I'm missing something. It's like people think, oh, if I have this, then I will
Be
be
happy.
this. Right. It's I get to be this.
Mm.
The being comes first, and everything then becomes a magnet.
Love. We just all read as a team Outsmarting Reality by Neuro Knowledge, I think. It's great. Highly recommend it. It's a fast read, but it's exactly that, and how there is such friction between experiencing the emotions when it's not here in the physical, but that's what you have to do in order to attract those things and achieve those things, which
Right.
is incredible.
And the nervous system regulation that we do, all of the tools that I teach, is letting the nervous system know and believe that all is well, it's safe, I'm okay exactly as I am, because
Yeah.
it can't get past the brainstem to, like, we can't just think positive, like, oh, that sounds great. Well, why isn't it working for me? If you're in a hypervigilant state, your nervous system is jacked and you're not embodied in that grounded safety, good enoughness. So that's
Mm.
what we do. We work with the beliefs, emotions, and nervous system to give this full picture of where we want to be. And from that place, inspired action can happen.
Love. I think what you just said is so important and really key. It's that affirmations alone are not enough, right? So if you're not really identifying what are the beliefs, what are the identities that I have that I need to rewrite, you saying I'm a millionaire in the mirror every morning, if you think, hey, I might end up on the street as a belief because that happened
Right.
in my family, that's not enoughness. But then also one layer deeper is your nervous system has to be regulated.
Right. And we are, we say, like, I'm the mindset coach, and the energetics and the somatics and the nervous system, like, wear all the hats in this multi-dimensional, multi-modality fashion, right? Because I can't talk, we can't talk people off that belief if their nervous system is sending the signal that it's unsafe. So we really are doing this in a very holistic way. And the beautiful thing is, you, as the visionary, as the leader, you go first and you embody that. So you're like, here's how you make an incredible business. Here are the elements. And this part is where you can take accountability and inspired action. Like some of the women in the program, they start every morning with my abundance meditation, right? We have EFT tapping. We've got some butterfly tapping, breath,
Yes.
breathing, all the different things that literally can, if you're shake it off, somatic shaking.
I was actually going to ask you if you can, first of all, how do you know if your nervous system is triggered? And then what are some easy, fast practices you can take us through to get you into nervous system regulation if you're dysregulated?
Okay, so I love that question. So there's fight, which is constantly trying to create conflict and chaos. Like, you're ready to put up the dukes all the time, right? Like, that is
Yeah.
constantly coming up. And again, it's your body telling you. So fight, quickened pulse, heartbeat, like the heat rising.
Think
right?
about like how you have to fight a lion. Your body's reacting to you needing to fight a lion, but there's no lion in front of you.
Right. And the fighter wants to like attack the lion, goes right at. Okay. Flight is you see that lion or right. And you're like, bye, take care. Right. And you run, right. Like you're literally, I'm out of here.
And I see that a lot. Sorry to interrupt you, but I see that a lot with conflict with clients.
100%.
With you have a client that's unhappy, which is in any relationship, you're going to have friction. And it's like, okay, instead of dealing with it, it's like, sayonara, see you later.
Right. And that is a coping mechanism that kept them safe. You're avoiding conflict and they don't know if it's a lion that they're running from or I can have a conversation and set boundaries or really find out what's going on, right? So that's where the beliefs and the patterns all come in. It's all informing this. The freeze is the dissociation. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I'm just frozen. And again, you're dissociated, you're checked out, you're numb. Fawn is I'm going to overgive. I'm going to people please. You want this? Here. And this is how I'm going to stay safe. So if you get triggered in your business, notice what's happening in your body. Notice, all right, what am I doing here? The steps of that part 2 question is like, I say, take a deep breath, tap the thymus. When you inhale through the nose and you exhale through the mouth, you are telling your nervous system you're safe. Tapping the thymus sends a calming nervous system response to your whole body, right? Like everything just softens, right? You can do K27s, which if you go down from your neck and out a little bit, just near your collarbone, some people it might be sore, intense. K, kidney, is fear. Okay. So again, we're doing these things so that we can calm our nervous system. We have a vagus nerve, which is a cranial nerve that interweaves through every gland of our body, and it's a two-way street. You could even just put your fingers in your ears. You can massage so that you're like stimulating this vagus nerve. You could butterfly tap and be like, I'm safe. It's safe for me to be here. You could go outside and put your feet on the ground and put your back against a tree. Nature holds no distortions. You get outside, you're going to calm your nervous system. So again, we talk about all of these things. We teach all of these things because again, your body can't tell the difference if you got an angry email from a client or if that bear is coming, right? And one of the ones we love to do in the program is the somatic shaking.
How do we do that?
How do you do that? So I'm going to explain why we do that, and then I'll explain how we do that. So what happens if we're triggered? Okay. In nature, the lion comes to get the gazelle, takes the gazelle around her neck. What does the gazelle do? She pretends she's dead. It's a biological process because the lion doesn't want dead prey. It drops the gazelle and goes on and says, okay, I'm not interested. Within moments, and there are videos of this that I've watched in my trainings, the gazelle starts shaking. The gazelle starts foaming at the mouth. The gazelle has like an epileptic seizure, literally, to expel the nervous system energy of all that adrenaline and cortisol to literally release the trauma of that lion. And then the gazelle is able to go back to present time awareness. It goes back to the watering hole. It's fine. You see our dogs do it. Animals know how to shake, somatically shake to return to present time awareness. Humans don't. Okay. So why do we somatically shake? To finish the stress response. If you did a somatic shaking practice every single day to keep your feet on the ground, shake your head and your hands, and then one leg at a time, you're going to process the trapped emotions. You might cry, you might shake more. If you've ever seen anybody in a really traumatic situation, they have uncontrollable shaking. It's to dispel the energy that the nervous system wants to move. But again, we're never given A, like, okay, honey, shake it off, or B, give ourselves that ability to. So something comes up. That's my favorite way to move energy from the nervous system. And we do that on group calls. It's in our portal because it is so beneficial. I remember someone wrote me, we did it live on the call, and within a day, she got 2 new clients. Like something in her nervous system, in the way she showed up, in her energy, whatever it was, moved and something good could come right in. And that's how instant it was for her.
I love that. So you just put on your favorite song and you get up and you just literally shake your body.
Yeah, I do Taylor Swift Shake It Off.
Love.
Because it's just the beat of it is like, you're really keeping up to it. It's like fast. And then she goes into that like really quick, like, and you're like, all right, just freestyle and move. Even dancing, it moves the energy. There's just something about that movement that can create space for whatever wants to come through, the inspiration, the clarity, the motivation. So that's why it happens.
I love that. I think that's so important. And I think it is so amazing just to realize like there's 3 steps, or there's top down, bottom up, right? Like where it's like, okay, so we have, and I think a lot of times you're only getting a piece of that puzzle online with what you're seeing. Like people are talking about affirmations or identity work or nervous system regulation, but never all together as a pie, like where I think all of those are so crucial to your ability to grow personally and professionally. And I always say your business is a reflection of your personal life. So I think like what I love is these modalities and everything that we teach within Charm Collective. It doesn't stop there. It spills over. How can you be a better mom if you have a regulated nervous system? How can you be a better wife if you work through your identity of not enoughness or anxious attachment or whatever? Like, how can you be a better community leader when you learn how to handle conflict and not flight from it, but handle it in a productive way where you can deepen relationships? Like, it just spills over into everything, and it makes life so much more fun.
That's it. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So how, like these attachment styles, right? Like secure, like I'm okay. I don't have to keep checking my email to see if this client wrote me back. Anxious is I'm checking all the time. Avoidant is I don't even want to look at it, right? You're doing that with your clients. I am 1,000,000% certain it's showing up with your partner, right? And as you said, when you make the unconscious conscious, when you're just aware, this is what I'm doing, and I love and accept myself, and I'm compassionate that this is changing, because once I see it, I can't unsee it, right? It's like, all right, and then I'm using a bunch of strategies and scaffolding, right? Scaffolding of a building. This is my educational brain comes through. We give scaffolding to help the ladies like, okay, how do we bridge from where I am to where I want to be? Your life can change.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's so incredibly important. And I just want to say again, where it's like we're giving you the tools to move through these things so that you're not stuck repeating the same habits day after day after day. Because one of our clients I was talking with recently, and a number of our clients had just like churned because this, that, the other thing. And I was starting looking at, I was like, so you're telling me you have all this personalized attention that you're giving to your clients from lead generation to the sales process. And then once they become a client, you never talk to them ever again. I'm like, what happened? What is going on? But that's like avoidance, like or fear of not enoughness. Like there's identity work that we need to do there.
Right.
And it's like, oftentimes we're not conscious to it. She was like, oh my God. Yeah. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we got to work on that.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing. When we have all of this support, all of the calls, all of the understanding, and again, we can see what our clients can, and then they start to, and it becomes more, right? So I say there's 3 levels of understanding. Knowledge, I've seen that before, or I've never heard of that before, right? Maybe some of you are like, wow, I've never even heard of that before, or I've never heard it quite that way. That's the knowledge. The integration is it's like the training wheels, right? I've got to practice that. I've got to try this on. I have to really think about in a conscious way and then there's embodiment. I live, walk, talk, and breathe that way of being, right? So in my sense, like you said, like the unconditional love and compassion and non-judgment, like that's who I am. I show up as that in whatever role it is, with my own children, in my family, with my clients, friends, right? That's an embodied trait. Other things I'm integrating, and some things I'm like, wow, I didn't know that, right? So we're all in that. We're all students of life. And here's the thing, we're never done. We're always learning. There's always more. And it doesn't mean we're ahead or behind. It just means we're on this path, and it gets to be exciting and fun. And of course, it's always, there's always parts that don't feel as comfortable. Yeah. And they get to teach us as we grow.
And I've always said that, like, the universe, God, whoever you believe in, whatever you believe in, will give you the same test over and over and over again until you prove that you've learned your lesson. And I think it's just like we're all on this journey of a soul's evolution here on earth. And It's like, okay, how evolved do I want to become?
So I think when we first met, like over 2+ years, like recently you came to me like, that would have bothered me so much, and now look at where I am. And it's like, yeah, it's indicative of your growth, of a lesson that you needed to learn, and you're like, I'm handling that so much better now. And the beauty of that is you're like, yeah, I'm good. And then now your next level, new levels, they say new levels, new devils, right? But new levels, new challenges. And that's what we're here to do, expanding.
New levels, new expansion. We're recoining that.
I like it. A reframe. Woohoo. Yes, I love it.
Well, I hope everybody found this really, really helpful, beneficial. If you guys have any questions at all, obviously, we're on Instagram at It's Lucky Girl Social. Marci, if they want to follow you, where can they find you?
I'm at Marci Baron, MarciBaron.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your light and your knowledge with all of our listeners. I can't wait to have you back.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. I can't wait.
That's a wrap on today's After Brief. Remember, the luckiest CEOs aren't born, they're built. Now, go make your move, share this with a friend who's ready to win, and I can't wait to see you next time.